I understand that, if I don't comply with sobriety court, if I don't get my act together, that it's really not gonna matter. My health's probably gonna deteriorate to the point where it's not gonna really matter where I am or what I'm doing. So for me, this is my last chance, and
If I didn't say it, I'll say it again. The file number is 241950SD. The allegation is that on or about October 29th, Mr. McDonough was driving a vehicle in the city of Three Rivers, charged with operating while intoxicated, second offense. On Michigan Avenue near Railroad Drive. Operating while intoxicated, second offense is a misdemeanor. It's punishable by up to a year in jail and a fine of up to $1,000. 6 points and the suspension or revocation of your driving privileges. You're here with your lawyer, Mr. Michael Hills. He's been involved in this case right from the outset. We're all involved in this right from the outset. We had a pretrial and then we had a final pretrial. I added a no alcohol condition to your bond back in December. The matter was set for what we refer to as plea and sentencing here today. Mr. McDonough, you've cooperated with the probation department in the screening process. We've done a lot of work between December and now. And then we confirmed with the prosecutor again on Friday. According to the prosecutor's office, there is no plea offer. And it's my understanding you're going to enter a plea to operating while intoxicated, second offense. Is that correct?
yes, Your Honor.
Anybody threaten you to get you to do that
No, sir.
or promise you anything?
No.
Do you understand that if you plead to this charge, you'll be giving up your right to have a trial in front of a judge or jury?
I understand, Your Honor.
If you had a trial, you'd have the right to be represented by an attorney. You've retained Mr. Hills and the Hills Law Firm. You could also have asked to have an attorney appointed to represent you. If you had a trial, you'd have the right to take the witness stand and testify on your own behalf, because you don't have to testify. And if you did not wish to testify, the judge or jury could not hold your silence against you. You have the right to be presumed innocent unless the state was able to prove your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt, and you could call any witnesses that you wanted. This whole circumstance is a bit surreal. You know these rights as well as I do. You could probably quote them back to me, but the law requires that I advise you of these. And I'll speak to this a little further as we get farther in the process. But so let's talk about the facts. Were you driving a car on October 19th in the city of Three Rivers?
I believe it was October 29th. Your Honor.
29th, yes, thank you.
Yes, I was.
And you got pulled over by the police near the main four in Three Rivers, is that correct?
Yes.
And they gave you a PBT and then ultimately a breath test. And the result was 0.089.
Yes.
You agree with that, Mr. Hills?
I do.
All right. I find that's a sufficient factual basis. The complaint indicates that the defendant did have a previous charge of impaired driving in the 8th District Court on January 28th of 2021. Obviously, I know Mr. McDonough and have known him since he was in high school. When this came, we were all chagrined. The Chief Judge Pattison called the State Court Administrator's office and said, what do we do with this? Because frankly, nobody wanted this hot potato. I feel maybe I knew you even better than all the other judges. But they said, as far as we're concerned, Mr. McDonough is a citizen of your county. He's no longer an elected official, and you should keep this case. And we were trying to, a couple things, avoid the appearance of impropriety, avoid the discomfort it may give to you, and perhaps some of the notoriety regarding the case. But it's us, you and me. So your lawyer, who I've known for a long time, came in and we had a long, fairly intense conversation. And Autumn and I spent a lot of time talking about this as well. At that time, David Marvin was the county prosecuting attorney. He's no longer there. The new elected prosecutor is Deborah Davis, who you actually hired. And also present this morning is former chief assistant, now assistant Gary Gabry. So we all come full circle. Your lawyer said, sobriety court, sobriety court, sobriety court. He said, when I talked to John, John did not want a trial. John wanted to accept responsibility, and he wanted to be in sobriety court. And again, you're not just a regular citizen. You were here when we started the sobriety court. And really know what it's about. So we then also explored transferring your case to Kalamazoo County. We do this quite often. We transfer cases in, we transfer cases out. Somebody lives in Kalamazoo, they get a drinking driving here. They would rather do the program there. We've had people from all over, Calhoun, Hillsdale, Branch, Cass, Van Buren, who would prefer to do our program and have been successful in it. So here we are. Mr. Hills, what would you like me to know?
Well, I think
Just a minute. Daniel, maybe you could step out with Mr. Crenshaw and see where we are.
I don't think there's a whole lot more to add to than what the court said about our conversation. I think that summed it up, but I would add a little bit more. And then when I first talked to Mr. McDonough about this before I had the police report, I kind of knew the facts. I said, well, this is a trial case. And he was saying, I want the help. I want to go into sobriety court. Okay. Then we started negotiating, started talking, started getting into it. We got the discovery, and my opinion, frankly, was this is a triable case. I never say we can win, we can lose, because you never know with the jury, but I look at it, it's a triable case, John. We can try this case. I want help. I want help. I want sobriety court. So I think that says a lot right off the bat before we even, before I even gave him my advice. He wanted sobriety court. He wanted help. He knows he needs the help. And so that's what he's looking for. And that was the sum and substance of our conversations. And so I think this is the best option for him. I think he's known it, and he's grateful for Autumn, her help, for the court's acceptance of him into sobriety court, and he's ready for the next chapter. Thanks.
Mr. McDonough, what would you like to say, if anything?
I don't really have a whole lot to say, Your Honor. I understand that, if I don't comply with sobriety court, if I don't get my act together, that it's really not going to matter. My health's probably going to deteriorate to the point where it's not going to really matter where I am or what I'm doing. So for me, this is my last chance, and I thank the court, and I thank certainly the probation department for the opportunity.
Ms. Kiefer, you got anything to wish to say? Well, let me go with Mr. Gabriel first, and I'll hear from you.
Thank you, Your Honor. Please the court. Mr. Hills. Your Honor, in this courtroom right now are three prosecutors, three people that understand what it is to be the elected prosecutor and responsibilities that come with it. I've known John, certainly not as long as you, but a long time, and came to respect him in his service to this county. That being said, it's more an understanding of the pressure and how, whether that had a role in his addiction or not, only he knows. What troubles us is knowing that addiction exists from back in the first time court matter appeared in Kalamazoo. John knew it existed, and then he still drives. I will commend him for his honesty in the pre-sentence report. I think the way he described his drinking problem to the probation department is enlightening. Sobriety court will give him an opportunity to ultimately earn back a driver's license. It will give him an opportunity to again reincorporate the tools that I believed he learned after his first go round. I would indicate that in going over the pre-sentence report and looking at the guidelines, I was surprised that, at least as far as what's been provided to the probation department, that none of the mitigating points in the court's guideline computation were brought forward. That's troubling. That's kind of like a red flag of where we go forward from here. But as the prosecutor had discussed with Mr. Hills, we're supportive of sobriety court. We believe that would be an option available to any citizen of this county that finds himself in the same predicament as citizen John McDonough. So we'd ask the court to treat him as citizen John McDonough, provide him the help and the opportunity to get that help. And a failure, we know where we'll end up. Thank you, Your Honor.
Ms. Kiefer, what's any final word?
Mr. McDonough and I have talked several times. He knows exactly what will be expected of him. He knows what will happen if he doesn't. And I'm willing to help him the best that the court can.
I watched this unfold in front of my own eyes over the last 12 years, now 16 years. Mr. McDonough took office with a great deal of promise, tried some very important cases, obtained convictions. And alcoholism is a progressive, insidious thing. And we watched it, obviously at first, you were not in it grips. But as we got further into your tenure, maybe in the middle of the second term or certainly the third term, I could see it. And I tried to talk to you without much success. And your attitude was everything is fine. Everything's fine. I had considered, frankly, talking to your mother or your wife, but I thought that might have been sort of an insult to you because you're a man in your own right and you were the elected county prosecutor, but you were damaging your health. And we had a discussion that this was a matter of life and death. You had some very serious health problems when the first incident occurred in May of 2021. And you came out of that with great humility, accepted responsibility, and worked on your sobriety diligently. But you relapsed, which is not uncommon. You've been through treatment, you've been through inpatient, You've been through support groups. You're meeting with a counselor now, although we weren't able to get any information from Ms. Bowlby. We asked for some. And you've been meeting with her for months while you were drinking all the time. I saw you on the campaign trail in the summer, and I thought you actually acquitted yourself very well at the debates. Somebody who you and I both know said, truth be told, John McDonough may be the most qualified candidate were it not for his alcohol addiction. But you kept driving a damn car. I disclosed this to Mr. Hills and said, if you wish me to disqualify myself, I will. That feedback came to me that you were out driving drunk. In fact, shortly before this, a short time before this incident, someone called the police and they were trying to find you, but they didn't. None of those ever things resulted in a conviction. But the fact that you were at 0.089 and you thought you were fine to drive to Home Depot, you're also on medication that you're not supposed to commingle with alcohol. And you are struggling for your life. You were running for office. You were doing public speaking. You were on the school board. You were student substitute teaching, trying to negotiate your addiction. You can't drink in your house, so you go out. So the aggravating part of this, we can all understand the addiction to alcohol. We can't understand, and you can't drive until we get this situated. Autumn and I and Judge Pattison, and maybe others, have discussed Spencer, the other people on the sobriety court team. Spencer would be Spencer Price, who you obviously know, but he was one of the original members and still is a member of our sobriety court team. Thought, well, all right, this is a matter of life and death. It really is. You're going to die if you keep doing this, and you know it, but despite that, you can't stop. So I say we're going to drag people out of the water and pull them up into the boat and save their life. Secondly, if you are going to be driving, there would be an interlock device in the car. And then we would know that your car won't start if you've been drinking, and we'll have a way to further monitor your alcohol. So I don't have a problem if all is good. The problem is if the wheels fall off and I got to put you in jail for 180 days. I guess we'll all struggle with that. But you came in and still have a lot of goodwill. I remember you playing high school basketball. Remember when you got married? Remember when your kids were born? We discussed all those things while you were prosecutor. We'd talk almost every single day. So here you are, citizen John McDonough, and you're here humbly ready to accept that fate. So I don't have anything else. You've tried inpatient, you've tried a Kalamazoo probation. Your family certainly doesn't want to see you in this position. And so we've got this program and we're going to utilize it. We've had several hundred people successfully complete the program. Maybe some others that did not. Just a second, I'm looking for it. There we go. Runaway wild judgment. How'd you get here? Oh, you're valid right now. Your license is,
But I haven't driven since
Oh.
this happened.
all right.
My wife brought me here.
I've never spoken to her about this. I've known her almost as long as I've known you. I've had a great deal of respect for her when she was a Sturgis police officer. She does a wonderful job as a probation parole agent. And she and I had never spoken one word about this. I don't even know what to say. She put up with a lot as a female police officer here in St. Joe County, and she did a good job. All right, under our philosophy, we're gonna pull people out of the water into the boat, and all we can do at our worst is fail. I'm sure you wish you weren't here. I feel the same way, but here we are. I'm gonna order 100. Let me look at the report again. Oh, yeah, you didn't go do any jail because you went to the hospital. 180 days in jail, credit 0. Leaving 180 days to serve. Of the 180 days ordered, 178 are deferred. You're gonna go to jail for 2 days, which is gonna be scheduled by the probation department. The recommendation was 4, I think 2 will get the point. Fine is 0, there's enough other stuff to pay for. There's a $75 crime victims' rights fee, a $50 state minimum fee, a $100 screening fee.
Your Honor, you cut that in half. I'm positive that assessment was completed.
All right, I'm disappointed, frankly, that you were in counseling for months and you were drinking all the time. I would have liked to have heard from Ms. Bowlby, and I guess at some point we will. $960 is the probation oversight fee. There's a $200 police reimbursement. Excuse me. I think the bond was a PR bond, 1,335. That can't be right. 125.50, 200, 960, 1335. Be reduced by $40 a month for every month you can do this. But the soonest you can do it is 13 months or so. As you know, there's a lot of places to be. You got to get to the day reporting center for testing. You got to get to treatment. You got to get to court. Now, we do a lot of this by Zoom. Your first appearance, I guess
Tomorrow.
tomorrow, will be tomorrow. We told the group that you were coming. And we asked Spencer to deal with that at group, and they're okay with it. They're very supportive of each other. You're gonna have to do in-person AAs. You can certainly continue to do as many as you want online, but you have to do at least 2 in person. You have to get a sponsor. Did you ever have a sponsor?
I had one for a short period of time, yeah.
Where was that person?
They were through my initial rehab place.
All right.
No one locally.
Here's what I would like. I'd like about 2 years from now for you to be somebody's sponsor. That's what I would like. You're intelligent. You've got a lot of knots pounded on your head. I think you could make an excellent sponsor to somebody who's following you. At any rate, you're gonna do the testing as directed, no drugs and no alcohol. You're not a drug user. It's alcohol. You're not to drive unless licensed. I guess I'm hopeful. We can make this work. We have a really good group of people right now. I think there's 10. We have one lady that we're not, Judge Stutzman's not gonna accept her, so it makes it easier for us. Yeah, I think you'll be 11. We've got some that are about to graduate. And there are people in there that you know, there's 3 of us people. There's, may have been people, I don't know if there's anybody you prosecuted. Nobody's immune from this. Mr. Gabriel mentioned the fact that we got 3 elected prosecutors, you, me, and him. For a number of years, he was the Ionia County prosecutor. Prosecutors aren't immune from this either, and neither are judges. In sobriety court, I know of about 10 judges who got drinking driving convictions, including our very own. And I do think, although it didn't touch your parents, I think you've got a genetic component to your alcohol addiction, and you know that. Your family, your cousins, your uncle. That's a bad hand you got dealt. Our point is to help keep you alive and make you healthy and a whole person again. But you got a lot of weight on your shoulders because you aren't just citizen John McDonough. And you've borne it pretty well, but let's see if we can bear it without alcohol further dragging you down. All right, I'm gonna see you tomorrow live here at the courthouse. We're gonna do our first sobriety court session. And again, you've sat through them before. We'll make it work. Otherwise, I guess we all know what the outcome is. All right, we'll go with Ms. Kiefer. I'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.